Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday tonic, our way of paying back into the community where we belong, where we come from. When we first started in education, we didn't have any access to any information on teaching abroad, living abroad, thriving abroad, or doing anything abroad. Mommy, did you get any information? Please, let's tell them.
None at all. None at all.
My
Nothing. I
first
searched the whole of YouTube.
there's lots of information on YouTube, but it's not for people like us. It's for people who understand the culture, people who know what to do, people who just need a few things. But I was coming from a country where everything we're doing, it was just in a totally different way. So, guys, today and all the Sundays that we've been doing this for the past 3 months, we've been trying to make sure everyone understands what it means to be a teacher in the diaspora, work in the diaspora, give them the cheat master script, or how would we say it, in the diaspora, and just enjoy being a teacher in the diaspora. My name is Janet. I'm an earliest trained teacher, primary teacher as well, because I got my training on two different countries. I have the US teaching license, which I never really talk about, and I have the PGCE. I'm a UK trained primary school teacher. So I can teach from the early years up until middle school, or from early years up until year six. I've worked in different countries around the world. If you are new to my channel, I've worked in 9 countries across 6 continents because I just like to travel. And while traveling around the world, I've gathered a lot of information, a lot of experience to help people who look like me. And if there's one thing I noticed as I was traveling around the world, is that there's not many people who look like this. So my whole channel, my whole engagement is set on helping people like me get into teaching. With me today, helping me to usher people in and inspire more people who look like us into teaching, is Omomi. Omomi will tell you about herself because she's just awesome.
Hello, everyone. You are welcome to our live session today. We do this every Sunday. If you're new here, we do this 7 p.m. UK time every Sunday. So, as you can see, I'm representing my country with my head.
I know, right?
Yes. So, guys, you're welcome. As Diaspora Judus has introduced, we're going to be talking about something special today. My name is Omowumi of Omowumi's channel. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about teach abroad, life abroad, and I'm a licensed teacher in the United Kingdom.
Super. This is the first call to action, is that if you're a teacher who has worked in a curriculum that's different from your home country's curriculum, we invite you to please come on to this live stream that we do every Sunday, so that we can share our experience and help other people who are trying to get into the profession. As I'm saying that, I can see that one more person has joined us. So before we start, I'm going to let her introduce herself as soon as I let her in.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Everyone. My name is Cynthia Temiola, and I'm so happy to be here tonight. I am a teacher in the United Kingdom. I'm a teacher, permanent teacher in an independent school, and I teach mathematics.
The mathematician.
Yes, you see, you science in between two math teachers. Don't worry, you'll be well well supported. We math teachers know how we do it, right, Juliet?
Thank you.
Super. So now, today we're talking about sitting plan. I remember the first sitting plan anyone asked me to write, I was like, huh? Kilunjebe.
Bikini jebedeni.
Me haka. Me kuna hada. Like, I was like, huh? What are you talking about? So I fumbled. People laughed at me. And if you work in an international school where you show that you don't really know what you're doing, then people start to talk behind your back. And then it will make, before you know it, the whole school thinks that you don't know what you're doing. So sit tight tonight, because we're going to show you what a sitting plan is like. It's really, really easy, but you need to put a lot of effort, a lot of thought into it. So, Liat, what was your first teaching plan like?
Yeah, sitting plan is not is an arrangement, that they place students in, which is a very good thing and helps your class management a lot. I
Yes.
remember my first job as my first lesson as a cover supervisor. It is actually the work of the main teacher to prepare that. So if you are
Yes.
covering up, you're good. You don't need to do it. They will do it and give it to you. All you need to do is follow it up and just follow the arrangements as prepared by the main teacher. But when I was working permanently, we always have a sitting arrangement. Sometimes we attach the pictures of the students on it. Yeah,
Yes.
it is something that we print out in a sheet almost every time. There is always like the way we section it. Just put their names on there, put their picture or whatever there, just to recognize them. So when the students see this, they respect it a lot.
Yes.
Because if there is no sitting plan, you just tell them go and sit there. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But with the sitting plan, sometimes you don't need to talk. It's easier for them to follow it and do whatever you want them to do.
Yes. Yes. So when do you draw your sitting plan, Omomi?
Well, for me, I sitting plan helps a lot, just like Suliat said and Jay has explained. If you don't know what sitting plan is, Suliat has explained, like
Yes.
you placing your students in the right place. Now, for me, first lesson, I don't do sitting plan because I don't know my students yet, except I have worked with them probably in the previous term or the previous school year. So if I'm new to my students and my students are new to me, first day they chill. They're like,
Yes.
oh, Miss is so nice. I'll tell them, oh yeah, chill, chill. They sit in wherever they choose. And then from there, we teachers, we are psychologists. And then I will know, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Omawumi,
Mm.
for example, Omawumi and Suliat cannot be together. No, they're going to chat through the lesson. Omawumi and Diaspora Dudus, they can never be together. They are going to
Never.
talk through the lesson. So from my first lesson, I would know, okay, this student cannot be with this student. This student can be with this student. Even my second lesson, I don't do sitting plan. We're still going
No.
to chill. Yeah,
Yes.
first week we can roll. We can, and then I will know by the first week I'll know their names. I will know their behavior. I will know if I would have read their EHCP, which is Education Health Care Plan for some students, which are special needs students, and then I would know where they would fit. Some students has special needs in terms of high sight. Some students cannot cope sitting at the back. Some cannot cope sitting at the front. So within this 1 week, we will figure that out.
Sorry, I want to add to what Omomi has just said. Some
Yes.
schools will have a meeting with you just prior to you starting your work. You're going to
Yes.
sit with the team member or the S teacher, and they're going to talk to you and tell you how they want you to go. Sometimes they want the sitting plan to happen as soon as you're starting your work because they feel it's going to make your work to become easier. So I
Yes.
think it depends on the school. So if you are called by the school, sometimes it happens that way. Yeah, they'll call you and they'll tell you, yeah, let's talk about this. This is how they do. This is the kind of person this one is, especially maybe because I have worked in a smaller settings. So I do not have to wait,
Yes.
for that to happen. So that at the end of the day, they will just some kids might feel like, oh, she doesn't used to do it before. No, but my first lesson, that is going to come up. And also the kind of some schools will not allow you to teach alone. There is always a support. So the
Mm.
person supporting you sometimes will bring that up. Like,
Yes.
they already know them before you do. Some of them have started that work or have been in that school a
For
long
a while.
time before you come. Yeah. So even if you are new, they will call you and they will say, let's sit down, let's talk about this. So they will tell you the behaviors of some of those students because with sitting plan might be something that people see as something that is not necessary. But I can tell you from experience that it goes a long way and it's going to make your work more easier than you think.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Talking about, I like what you just said just now about the information. So that means you need information to draw up that sitting plan if they ask you to do it on the
Yeah.
first day. For example, I've worked in different schools on different continents, in different countries. And you're right, Sulia, they will ask you from the first day to write your sitting plan. I just tell them, okay, and I draw up my first sitting plan. And I tell the children from the beginning, we're supposed to draw up a sitting plan. So, guys, I'm going to put you here, but do not think that that's where I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you here for now, and I'm going to switch you around. So they understand, oh, I don't want to sit with that, but Miss is going to move me very soon. It sort of gives the class a democracy, but it also gives me chance to do what I want. I'm listening to school because I don't want any problems. If they want a sitting plan on the first day, I'm doing what they want. However, those 2 days that Mommy talked about, I still think about it in my head. So I'm doing what they want. Then I'm going to sit down and give them 2 days so that they can sit together so that I can actually see what they're like. Because some children are look, imagine what I'm like, what I was like in secondary school. You guys have known me for what, a few months now. What do you think I was like in secondary school? Oh my God. The funny thing is that if there's nowhere, my teacher used to tell me, there's nowhere I will put you in this class. You are just that child. Even if I put you near a table, you'll be talking to the table. And the table will have to respond to you. So I was just that kind of child. So if you put me on one space in the first day, you have to move me around again. So what I'm trying to say is that your sitting plan is not set in stone. You can always move it around. So if school tells you to write it. But remember, do what mommy says. Keep changing it. As long as you change it, update it on the paper. Now, going with what someone said, first question, is the sitting plan susceptible to routine changes, or is it a one-off permanent plan for a whole term from the initial arrangement? No, it's not. I've just said it now. It's not set in stone. It's not permanent. You can do a sitting plan today. In another 2 weeks, you do another sitting plan. In another 2 weeks, you do another sitting. In fact, I like to do at least 3 or 4 sitting plans in a term. Why? I want my whole class. You know how some children will be in a classroom, they won't know there's another child in the class, and they will never interact with that child. Probably because the child is not on the table that they are sitting on. Probably because the child is not in their after school club. So a child will be in how can you be in my class? You don't know anybody in your classroom. No, this week I move them. Next 2 weeks, I move them again. So you can change your sitting plan as often as you like, as long as you remember to update it, because you're not the only one looking at the sitting plan. Your cover supervisor is going to use that sitting plan whenever the person comes in. Your head of department. I'm the kind of person who, my position in the school, I'm supposed to go around and see what other people are doing. Now, what I do is that I sometimes tell them, I'm going to take so and so class from you today. Leave your lesson plans in the classroom, and I will use your lesson plan and your sitting plan, and I want to see what the children are like, because it gives me a chance to know the children. Another thing is it gives me a chance to know if the teacher has written a good lesson plan. If I can't understand the lesson plan, that means you've not done a good job, because your lesson plan is a document that anybody should be able to use. And it all comes together, sitting plan, lesson plan, all the plans. We're going to be talking about it week by week, so hang in there. This is a time for us to tell you to like, subscribe, and share, and click on your notification bell so that you always get the updates from us. Ladies, should we start with the sitting plan? It's quite easy. I hope they will get it. I just have something here that Suliat has already talked about already, because she talked about information that you need to draw up your lesson plan, that you need prior. I know they have the things they want to show you too, but I've got something here which I want to put on the screen. So if you're here, hang on to your seats. The first slide is coming up. Now, if I make it bigger so that I can see. Right, so this first plan is a classroom sitting plan. And I took it from Twinkle, so it's very basic, but I know that we do something more complex. This is a basic one. It says here, your task is to write a plan to organize the Key Stage 2 classroom. There are 9 girls and 9 boys in the class. Why do we need to know how many boys and girls are in the class? Ladies, do you want to talk about that?
For equality.
Thank you. Because we talk about being fair, you have to be fair. If you're fair, then parents don't ring in and accuse you of being unfair. And your principles have to be consistent. So you need to know how many boys in the class. You don't put all the boys together, because all they will do, my class, there was once I put all the boys together and they were talking about Messi, or was it Leonardo? They were talking about football. And I lost control of that class. Okay, it says you want to place 3 girls and 3 boys at each group. You will have to read the information that the class previous teacher provided and think carefully about what you should place where you should place each pupil. We've talked about in a previous session, we talked about reports. Mommy, do you remember the reports when we told them that they will be writing reports constantly? Now it's a combination of all the reports that you put together to get your previous knowledge. In one of Mommy's videos on her channel, she also talked about when she discussed with Gideon, they talked about data-rich classrooms. That means you have to work with previous teachers' data. You're not a standalone person. You're in a team. So, Suliat, is that how you do yours as well at the independent school in the UK? Sorry, can you put your mute?
Jay, I was here in the live telling you when you were talking about Sulia is not here, Suliat is not here. I was saying I am here. I don't know. So regarding that,
okay.
Yes, you don't work alone. They love teamwork. They love the fact that you work with your colleague. It's very, very important here in the UK. Yeah, you have to work with your colleague one way or the other. But one thing is, if you are working with your colleague, be very strong. Don't just expose your weakness.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, be very strong. Don't say, because they said, I need to work with Omowumi. And I'll not tell Omowumi. I don't know 2 plus 2. I don't know 3 plus 3. You know. So when you are working with your colleague, please be smart. You understand? Be smart enough, and then know how to protect your whatever.
Exactly. So here the data that we have from the previous teacher says that Lucy is very chatty if she's sitting beside another girl. That means you know that girl, you put her in between 2 boys. So maybe on that table, if you're trying to be fair, you put a boy and this Lucy and another boy, then a girl, so that before she will get up and stretch. That was me, by the way. That was me in every single class I was in. Before she would get up and stretch to the other girl, then you would know. She's very welcoming to visitors and was door monitor last year. Can I just say something here? In Nigeria, that first sentence will be written in a different way. They write it as, Lucy is very talkative. They don't write that here like this. You have to write even negative things, you have to write it in a positive way. I always say he's a very social butterfly. If I tell you your child is a social butterfly, it means your child is very disruptive in my class. He's very social. You know, that kind of thing. So if we go back to, if we look at this, it just gives you a background knowledge of all the children, who you should put with who, because the past teacher would have done this. That means if you're going to if you're coming to the diaspora for the first time, you will write something like this for the next teacher. So prepare. Report writing. I think only mommy and I covered that when we say we write reports every day, every single day we are doing reports. Now, let's see. Should I go to the next page or should we just stay on this one and talk about this one, ladies?
Yeah,
Yes, I
Joy,
think
I've
we
got a
should.
question for you. This city
Okay.
Okay.
plan, do you think it applies to people who teach in college or who teach and in university? I think I want to know if it applies to everyone, and I want people who are looking at us to learn from that.
It, in when they get to college, they're in year 12 and year 13. They're adults
Yeah.
already. 16 is
Yeah.
the age of consent. You come to school and you still need me to tell you to keep quiet, then you're not ready. Go home or sit there and be making noise. When A levels will come up, you see how some of them faint when it's time for A levels. I love college for one thing. Anybody who comes to college knows what they want from life. They know they want to go to university, and they know that university is not something that they can just dance into. No, they have to work hard for it. So by the time they get to college, you really don't need all this at all. In fact, if you're watching this live and you don't want stress, go to college, go to university. College is different from university. College is the 2 years after secondary school before they get to university that they have to do in the UK. A lot of international schools do this as well, especially if they run the national curriculum for England and Wales. Or
Yeah.
sometimes when they run the IB, they have the DP that they do 2 years, which is the same thing as A levels. Right. Are we talking more about this before we
Yes,
actually
I
show
think we
them what the
should.
city is
Yes,
like?
I think
Okay.
we should talk about more of this so that they will understand what we're talking about. Fine, we've talked about Lucy is very chatty. Now we're talking about
Yes.
Adam. Adam sometimes has
Yes.
problems with seeing the board. So needs to be
Yes.
facing it and not to be too far from it. I think I said that when I was talking about my own sitting plan. So
Yes.
you should know where you're going to place Adam. You can't place Adam far
Yes.
from the board.
No.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, we
so
mentioned that.
something is hold up. So here, Abby is a member of the school echo council and was light monitor in my room, as she could be counted on to turn them off when not needed. So
See that
these
kind of
are the
child, I'll put her on the.
carry on.
Okay. Sulia, do you have a sitting plan you want to show? Okay. I will add this to the stage next. It's just, I'm so sorry, guys. I just grabbed something off Twinkle. Twinkle is something that we all have to talk about very soon. Um, yeah, let's go. Um, okay, so this is one example of a sitting plan, having in mind all those things that we've already looked at today. A lot of teachers are leaving teaching because they say the children are wild, the children do not understand. For every 10 teachers who leave teaching, I am inspiring at least 10 more, because I know that once you get your behavior management on point, teaching becomes easier. And sometimes a lot of people neglect this part of teaching and it makes their work so hard. It makes it hard for them to control the children in class, which is why we're dwelling on this today, because we need 65 million more teachers. So please, guys, come on in. So here we have a table. I don't know if you can see my cursor. We have a table here, and you can see the name around each rectangle. The way I like to draw it up is by groups. I group them. So the first one will be my SEN group. My second one would be, that sort of thing. I make sure the SEN group is closest to me. So if the teacher's table is somewhere at the bottom right, I don't know, can you see my cursor?
No.
You can't see. Okay. I should have actually used my own sitting plan, but I realized they had children's names on it. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to
GDPR.
use it. Yes, GDPR. I had to think about the GDPR. Actually, I wanted to use my own sitting plan because on my own sitting plan, I have little things written on the table beside each child's name, and it sort of gives them an idea of, or whoever comes into the class has an idea. So I have two sitting plans, one for teachers' eyes and one for children's eyes. And one for children's eyes, I stick it on the board just like Suliat and Momi said tonight. Okay, there's another sitting plan which is different from that. You could do this, and you have to just take that main document and look at the main document and know how to fix them. When you fix children who need help, who need support, who need supervision, if you put them in a place where you can access them, then it will be easier. So yeah, do you have anything to add to this? Because I like this. It's very simple, but mine is even I just didn't want to put the GDPR part of it on the internet. Yeah, there's another sitting plan I have here, which is different, but still having the same idea. When you put them in two big rectangles like this, chances are they will still interact because we still want peer-to-peer learning to happen. But I just feel I've never been a fan of this sort of sitting plan because I think it's better for older children. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm used to the first one.
The
And I
first,
think the first one is more explanatory for first time user.
so
The
let's go.
first one, yeah.
This one or this
Yeah.
one?
Can you repeat the clicking? Can you click it again? Over again.
Okay,
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, something like this. Yeah,
Okay,
because
yes,
to me, I feel this has given them a lot of space in between.
yes,
Sometimes when they get too close, when students get too close, it gives room for destructive and whatever. So I
yeah.
think this, to me, I think this is more easier.
I
This
think so
one.
too.
Mm.
I think this is easy. Easy because you can stay where the sitting plan is written. The teacher's table could be that, and then the children are behind the tables. Each so the first rectangle, the first big rectangle, the second big rectangle, up until the end. I think the four big rectangles, which shows the table. I also like to work in such a way. I actually like this one. Let me put this one back. This is my preferred one. This is the one I use most of the time because I can then put my red group, my orange group, my green group, my SEN group, and my ESL group. So there are five, and I can put them. The ESL and the SEN will be in front, right next to my table. And then the red group will be next. Then we have the orange and the green behind. So that way I am standing and there's enough room for me to walk around, even as I remember to put the children according to their chattiness. Let me put it that way. Mommy, what table will your beautiful girl? What table will she be? I'm sure she'll be on the green table.
She, my what?
The girl that helps you. Your
She was
amazing.
she was right beside me because if she's at the back or the middle, then she's just going to chat all along. So I had a small table right beside my table because I'm a science teacher, and we do our science lessons in the laboratory, which has three rows. I have one small table beside me, so that was where she was up. She was on her sitting plan. She was in the middle, but it wasn't working. She was chatting all through the lesson with other students. So I had to bring her to the front. I told her she's so special to me. So she has to,
Yes.
and since she's my assistant, she has to sit right beside me because she didn't want to sit at the front. When I said I'll be changing the sitting plan, she felt sad. But when I said because she's my assistant and
She'll
she's
be
going to be
happy.
sitting right next to me, so she carried her school bag and then
So you bribed her. That was a good one. That was a good one. So, but if you think about it, that's your SEN child because
yeah,
she
yeah,
requires
yeah,
that special
yeah.
need. or to
Yeah.
kiss. So yeah, so she'll be on that table, bottom right. So because
Yes.
my own table will be bottom right if you look at this diagram.
Mm.
So yeah, she'll be on the SEN table. I like to keep the SEN children closest to me.
Yeah.
The SEN could be children who have English as a second language, or because in Nigeria or in other parts of the world, they see SEN as disabled children. SEN does not really mean disabled. SEN
Mm.
just means you have to be extra special about this child.
Yeah.
It could be a child who's talking a lot. It could be a child who
Mhm.
needs to go home at a certain time every day. I had a child
Mm.
who had food allergies in my class, and she could not be in any way. Even she was allergic to even apples. So break time, she has to leave the class. And then when everybody's coming in, we have to go through this ritual where we all have to use hand sanitizers, wash ourselves down. So she was very close to the door, sort of. But she was also in front, close to the door, but in front, because that was my
Mm.
SEN table at the time, so that we could quickly bundle her out of the class in case she starts reacting to anything. I mean, somebody will eat bananas during break and just come into the class, and you will see her, she'll start having a rash all over her body. So she was always on the SEN table. And those are the things that we have to put in mind when we are drawing up our lesson plan. Do we have anything else to add to this before I bring out the carpet sitting plan? Oh my God, that's another one. Yeah? Can we, Celia, do you have anything to add to it?
I just agreed to. I just let you. I want you to know that SEN is just a student who require special needs. It might not. It just not have to be like they are sick or they have medical and they need medical attention. It's
Exactly.
just they just need special. They require special attention in different.
Yes.
It might be in different way.
Yes.
Just it's
Yes.
special. And I think the best way is just as you have said, Jay, is to put them close to the door. Which
Yes.
we think the first sitting plans that I got, I didn't do it alone. I did it with some teams and colleagues that we did it together,
Yes.
and those are part of the things we put in consideration.
Exactly. Exactly. Because can you imagine you are teaching and your SEN child is at the back, and maybe the child is breathing, maybe the child has asthma.
Yeah.
The whole class will scatter. You know, unlike if you put the child by the door, as soon as he starts breathing,
Mm.
take this nose, office, you even call office, there's a customer that is coming. And everybody else is still normal, everybody else is still chilled, everybody else is still working, and you've dealt with the problem. Okay, let's see if we have another sitting plan here. Mommy, which one was your favorite? Do you like which one do you normally use? I know you work in the lab. It will be something like this.
Yes, something like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, this is usually secondary school teachers kind of sitting plan.
Mm.
This one will not work in primary because, huh?
I know, right?
This one will not work in primary. Hey, but it's good. I mean, the teacher can walk in the middle and behind
Yeah. Yeah.
behind them, but
Yes.
they will draw. Or they will be talking. The talking will not finish.
Yeah. That's just it.
Unlike this one, there's still
Not like
small.
this.
Yes,
Yes.
before they shout, I would have.
Mm.
What are you doing? Have you finished your task? Yes, please. Okay, I'm coming over to come and have a look at what you're doing. There's another one. There's this one, which is you can still use this one for groups, and then SEN will be here, and then
Mm.
there's space for the teacher to walk around when you're
Yeah.
working with the different groups and supporting them during the lesson. And the lesson will run smoothly because you can actually see them from afar. It's not the one that they're all on top of each other like sardines, that sort of
Mm.
thing. First time I ever drew up a lesson plan was when I worked in the US. And it was like this. I drew up my lesson plan. It was something like this. It was just horrible. The children were constantly talking. Ah,
Yeah.
I couldn't control them. But this will work for older children as well, I guess.
Yes. I've had something like this before as well.
Yeah.
This
Especially
I
when you want
think
them to.
I don't think this will be easy to control.
No.
This particular one I'm seeing, it won't be
Yes.
easy.
It was
Even
so
for
hard to
small
do.
groups, sometimes
Mhm.
it
You know, you
doesn't
have
work.
to. I think I don't know whether you talked about it when I went away. I had to go and look at my president generals.
Exactly.
I think it actually depends on the um, layout of your classroom, you know.
Yes.
So there was a classroom that they had to. There's no way you can do the sitting plan except this because of the layer of the classroom, the way the table was constructed. There was a particular school I was that was exactly that. There's no way you can do it.
Yeah. Could you not separate the table?
No, it was together. So there's no
Oh,
way you can only do it this way. So
oh
the
my,
best is just to the best that is where the psychological part I was talking about earlier comes
yeah,
in. So when you see two students, if you know, I was always changing sitting plan. When you know
yeah.
they can't, you just have to change them.
Oh,
So that is why I love schools whereby you can move tables, you can change things around, but whereby you have like fixed tables and chairs. I don't
yeah.
really, yeah.
I think that's when you have to go back to, let me add it. This is when you need to go back to this to go and see
Mm,
who can sit with whom. And
exactly. Yes.
okay, there's another sitting plan. Have I don't know if I've shown this. Have I shown
Yes, you
this?
have. Yeah, you have.
Okay, I have. Okay, so let's go to the primary and EYFS people. Lighter is online, even though she said
Uh-huh.
network is really dealing with her tonight. So carpet sitting plan, because or usually in the diaspora, there's a time when the children sit on the carpet for a bit and then they get up and then they can go to their different tables or their different groups to go and work. When they sit on the carpet, they're closest to the smart board. They can do so, you can give them whiteboards on the carpet. But when they're sitting on the carpet like this, you see some of them behind will be pulling the one in front here or putting. I had this one child. He could not keep his hands to himself. And whenever they sit on the carpet like this, I used to tell them, fold your legs or fold your arms, cross your legs, that sort of thing. And it was hard. So sometimes I would give them fidget toys for them to hold. I've said it in a live we did before. Sometimes I will give the ones that are really fidgety a teddy to hold. Hold this Teddy for me. Teddy doesn't like to be jiggled. Teddy likes to be held only gently. If you feel yourself tired of holding Teddy, tell me and I will give Teddy to Miss. And I said my TA's name. I give the Teddy to Miss, and then I will give you something else. But that was so that I could control when he's tired of holding Teddy. My TA knew it's time to carry this boy out. So usually I will put him on the edge. Now, this sitting plan, you will still go with the idea from that other the data sheet where one child cannot sit with other girls or she cannot sit with, and I always try to put them boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, because my maths brain cannot help itself. I used to try and do patterns with them. Boy, girl, boy, girl. So they all knew. And each person knew where they had to sit. And that's where they had to sit until I would change the sitting plan again. Ladies, have you worked with this sitting plan before? I know you guys are secondary, but I'll still ask you the question.
Though when I worked in primary, I didn't work long in primary. I ran
Okay.
away. I do, but I know of this carpet sitting plan whereby you ask them to sit on the carpet. That was where I learned whereby you say 1, 2, 3, and everyone is sitting on the carpet. And then probably while you're
Exactly.
reading, yeah, probably it's reading time or in primary school when you want to teach them, you have to sit on the carpet, and when they want to do like independent learning, then they get back to their seats. So
Yeah.
yes, this
Groups,
carpet
yes.
sitting plan has to be in place because because I didn't really have much experience in primary. I was um this carpet sitting plan was a lot for me because some, like Jay said, one student might be pulling what the other student's hair, and then one will say, "Oh, miss." The reason why I ran away from primary school, let me just say, once one child would just be telling me, "Miss, um Suliat is pulling my hair. Another one is at the same time. Another
Yes.
one is saying that Miss Jasper Dudus is doing blah, blah, blah to me, and, and I just said, "Oh, I can't deal with this. I'm running away from primary school." So
Yeah.
the carpet
Yeah.
sitting plan is very, very, very necessary. Very, very important in
Yeah.
primary school. We don't do carpet in secondary school. We don't.
No, you guys are big, big. You are too
We are
big now.
big.
But in primary school, in
Yeah,
primary school, we first, pardon?
yeah, I'm about saying the carpet sitting doesn't apply to secondary school, just the
Yeah, we
primary
don't
school.
do
And I do
carpet.
not have experience of primary school. But I hope that one day maybe because Omomi has always told me this is what they do, and I think it should be easier compared to the secondary school settings.
Primary school is lovely.
Yeah.
Primary school is lovely,
Primary school
actually.
is the
It's lovely. I
easiest.
enjoyed it.
Oh,
I enjoyed primary school. But for me, I think what for me, I was just like, I don't want to hear mommy, mommy, mommy at home. And then I'll get to school and then I'll see here, Miss. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. I just enjoyed the older ones. No, don't mind me. Primary school is lovely. I enjoyed my time when I was in primary. It's lovely.
yeah. Yeah. So guys, if you're watching today, if there's two things you need to take from this live session is that in secondary, you have only one sitting plan to construct when you start work in the diaspora. If you're in primary, you construct two, one for the carpet and one for the groups. In EYFS, they only do one because it's only carpet time. The other things they do being activity centers, which is free flow. So you don't really do too much. So it's only primary school teachers. We do two because we are special. We are special needs. We have special needs on our own. So we do two, one for the carpet and one for the different groups or the different tables, the table settings. And so now let's see. We have 10 more minutes. We're going to take questions. And we hope that this has helped tonight. Because when you separate them like this and they know from the beginning, you know how we've said it before that your behavior management comes at the beginning. When they know from the beginning where they are sitting, why they are sitting there, and you explain it to them. Honestly, all this gives you bonding time with these children. And once you have bonding time with the children, your life is easy. For example, Omomi said that she has this one girl who is very, very active in the class and she's always multitasking in her brain. So she needs to be multitasking physically. But when she understood the child and she knew where to place the child in the classroom, then her life became easy. She would use the child, in fact, use the child. She wants to do things. Put her in a place where she can help you. And once you put that child in a place that that child can help you, then the others sort of understand the dynamics. They don't need that much supervision. So that way, that child becomes a positive in the classroom instead of a negative. Right, let's take questions. The first question I can see here is the sitting plan society? Yes, we've answered that. Hi, Diaspora and Omomi. I'm so happy to join the live today. Yes, we're happy to have you too. Okay, Blessing says, happy to join the live. We're happy to have you too. I don't know if she's still online. Brume, hello. Oladile, this is like an attention seeker. Yes, but if you say attention seeker, that sounds more negative. But if you say social butterfly, it sounds more positive. So let's try and remember to use the positive terms because it will get you far. These children will go home and go and tell their parents, this person called me a noisemaker today, or this person called me a chatterbox today. And the parents will get that subtle reference to you naming the child in a negative way. So let's try and learn how to use positive terms to describe something that will be otherwise unsavory. Is there any other question? Okay, I never knew this sitting arrangement has meanings. Oh my God. That's why some schools will want you to give it to them on the first day. They will give you this, something that looks like this, and they will want you to construct something that looks like this from that data that they've given you. Or if you're in primary, they want you to construct something that looks like this and something that looks like this. So it's really important, and you don't have to follow a set plan. It is your class, and you have the data, so you know where to put them. At the end of the day, it's your choice. Or what do you think, Momi? You're on mute.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's your choice, but we are trying to show you how to use your choice in a way that will give you less stress in the classroom, and you'll be able
Mhm.
to manage the children's behavior properly. Matthew says that, well done, ladies. Please, can this carpet sitting be applicable to secondary? No, secondary
No.
students don't sit on the carpet. They're big boys and girls. You don't want them to open. Yeah, we don't want them to open anything that we don't want to see, because I would be like, you'll be facing them. The way it is, imagine, where the writing is, carpet sitting, that's where you will stand, and the children will all be facing you. So the one that doesn't sit down properly in secondary, you will see too much, especially the girls. So no, we don't
The
do
only
carpet.
time they sit on the carpet in some schools is when they have assembly.
Yes. Oh, and they put the big ones behind. On the big ones will sit on the gym benches.
Game benches, yes. And
That's
then
how.
we teachers, your class that is as so we don't, the reason why we don't need sitting plan for, because I will answer the question you might have in mind. That is there a sitting
Yes,
plan for that assembly? No. And the reason why there's no sitting plan is because the principal is there, the DSL is there, we
yes,
teachers, we are there, and they don't want to go to detention after the assembly.
yes.
So they are always mute during assemblies. No
My
talking.
class was not a mute class. I think my personality rubbed off on the children in my class, because they are so. And when they see me, they'll first start screaming, and I'm like, okay, my land manager is here. Behave yourself before I go on detention. Then they'll look at me and say, "Do teachers go on detention? If you continue shouting, yes, you will see how teachers go on detention. First of all, I will get the eye, I be the look." So they'll sort of adjust, but then it's because I always have this rapport with them as well. So yes, they do behave, but primary school children do not behave in assembly, because for them, it's almost as if, what's the whole school coming to do here?
Do
So that's when
yeah.
they remember they have a brother in year 7, and they'll be shouting. Maybe they'll be shouting, Janet, look at me, I'm sitting here. I'll be like, yeah, you see your brother at home every day, don't you? It's okay, sit, please. After school, you can see him, you can hug him, kiss him. For now, please don't let Mrs. B go on detention. So sit down, please. So they get that. Just try and be just try and love them a lot, and you'll be fine. Matthew says, please, what exactly is the usefulness of this carpet sitting plan? Oh, you have to watch it from the beginning, Matthew. From that question, it tells me that you didn't come in from the beginning. So please just try and watch it again from the beginning. And because we started it with the explanation of what a sitting plan is necessary for. Another question, please, how can I get more information about these sitting plans? You can send us emails, but I think we've covered it basically. Unless maybe, what can I say? We'll leave it on our community page. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll leave it on our community page. We'll do a write-up, put it on the community page, on Mommy's community page and my community page. My community page should be going up. I will write it and put it on tomorrow. So just have a look at it, and I hope it will not be too long and not too boring. Yeah. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions? There's a start. Something start. Omotosho Samson. I don't know. Okay. Yes. Any more parting words before we leave them? Today we're on time. Oh wow.
Hmm.
And you know what? I love it when we're on time. I think I've lived in the diaspora for too long. Hey, I love it when we're on time. And we even have 3 minutes to spare. So Any other questions? I don't know. Okay, blessing. She says she's here. Oh, okay. Okay, super, 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 super. Thank you for staying till this point in the video. I can see Suliat has gone to attend to our little princes and princesses. So she's not here to say her parting words. But mommy, do you have any parting words for them on sitting plan?
Yeah, we've said it all. And then I would just with the 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I think someone might have this question in mind in which probably we should just briefly talk about it. Is what if I have problems with my sitting plan? Who do I
Ah,
go to? Who do I
yes.
go to? What if my
Very
student is telling me I am not going to change my seats?
Oh, yes, I had that.
Mm.
I
So
had
who
that.
do I go to? What do I do? Let's just. I think someone might come across that, and then they might not know what to do.
Yeah. Okay,
Mm.
so I'll my suggestion when the child does not want to sit on that seat, please do not bang your head on the wall. That's
Mm.
not a mountain for you to die on. No, 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 no. The school asked you to do a sitting plan. You try to cajole. The reason why you try to encourage the child, that is, you explain why you're doing that sitting plan and why you want the child to leave that seat and go to the next seat, because some children need that explanation. One, because the other children are your witnesses in the classroom, that you spoke to that child and explained why you need to move. You need witnesses in the diaspora for everything. Now, after that, let it go, leave the child on that seat for that day, but you need to talk to your head of department, talk to your DSL, because it's a safeguarding issue. If the
Yes.
child is being disruptive, it means that the child is not letting the other children learn. And one of the things, the biggest things on the teaching standard is that the child has to feel safe in his learning environment so that learning can happen. So this one child that is causing a problem is hindering the others from learning is a safeguarding issue. You write cause for concern,
Yeah.
talk to your head of department, but only after you have tried to solve it, because they will ask you, what did you
What
do?
have you done?
How did you, what have you
Yeah.
done to try to solve the problem? Did you explain to the child? Can you find another place for the child to sit that will still let the child, can you move other children around? Sometimes they do that. Sometimes it's the parents that is the problem. You move the child doesn't want to be moved, but eventually the child understands when you explain it to the child. But then the parents will come from home because the child has gone to go and tell the parents that I'm sad. Today they did not let me sit near mommy, and I just like to hold mommy's hand, because if I don't hold mommy's hand, I cannot think straight. In fact, I felt sad. That happens in the diaspora, and it might get to like my own opinion, my own situation, where the parents will then say they will pull the child from the school if you do not move the child back to where the child wants to sit. Do not try to handle it alone, please. I beg you. I want you to involve your line manager. Involve your line manager. If you are in key stage 3, involve the head of key stage 3. If there's no head of key stage 3 and there's a year group head, involve your year group head, because chances are this child has been in that school and they have a record of that child and what the child can do. Don't try to be the hero. Pass it on. Quick, just pass it on. Do something, explain, let everybody hear that you are explaining, even if you know that you're not doing it from the bottom of your mind. You are telling, you make sure your voice is not loud, but it's audible so that all the other children will hear that you are explaining, because the parents have a WhatsApp group and they will talk on the WhatsApp group, and the other children will tell their parents, no, 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 that's not what happened. Mrs. B actually explained to that kind of thing. Right. How do we handle a child in class who is always absent minded? Designated safeguarding lead. Maybe the child is not getting enough sleep at home. Maybe the
Yeah.
child is hungry. The child doesn't have enough food at home. It's not your cross to bear. You write it down. You see this thing that we showed you at the beginning. It is a teacher who has compiled this. So you need to start compiling things like this. Always write things down. Do not do verbal. We do not do verbal in the diaspora. We write things down because it will protect you. And I like writing things down because it will even help you see. Because when you write it down and you read it again, you can see, that one, I shouldn't write that down. In case I'm not, if another person sees it, it sounds too harsh but if you say it, you can't put it back in your mouth. That sort of thing.
And even if
In
like the absent minded, I'll just say this. I experienced this in last school year. Even if your student is sleeping in your classroom, you cannot wake them up. You have to get the DSL.
No, yes. And we all know the DSL is the designated safeguarding lead.
Yes.
This is a tongue twister, but we have to learn it. This is one, if there's anything you know as a teacher in the diaspora, is the designated safeguarding lead. In America, they don't call them designated safeguarding lead. I think they call them SPED teacher, special ed teacher, special education needs teacher. But there's always a head of that department, and that's the person that you need to hang on to when you have things like this. Problems with parents that involves the child, DSL. You just throw them to the DSL. They will ask, what have you done? They will ask what you have done as a teacher, as a contact person in the classroom. So that's why you need to do things that other children can see, so that those ones will
Yeah.
be, Yoruba will say, Ajeri, your witnesses.
Mhm.
Next question.
Sorry, Jay. I want to add to that. Yeah, because I have
Yes,
an experience. Sorry, I've been away. I'm sorry. I just had to attend to
it's
these
okay.
people. About
Yes,
guys.
I know.
So I want to add something to that because I've experienced something like that as well. So
Yeah,
regarding the absent-minded, there are some schools, most permanent, like if you're a permanent staff in many schools here in the UK, what they do is in the morning there's always a gathering, and
yeah,
when we are closing for the day too, there's always a gathering. So the gathering that the teacher comes together. That is why if the school is actually 8:30 or start at 8:30 or 8:45 when the students are coming, the main staff would have been in school before then. So
yeah,
we are always there before them, and the fact that we are there does not mean we are just doing nothing. We have the meeting. So we have that meeting in the morning, and we have meeting also when we leave. So during those
yeah,
meeting, we discuss a lot of things. You can give your reports. There are things you have written down on students or something that you need attention on. A lot of people will have reports and then they will just bring it on to, yeah. And people who have suggestions, it's just like the teams, the colleagues, everyone is there together. So
yeah,
we that is our own different schools have their own culture. But there's one other person that I spoke with, they do it as well. Yeah, in another school, in a different school, they do that gathering in the morning and during the closing time when the students have left. So it is a means of you bringing all this suggestion. Just everyone is going to tell that's the report for the day. Whatever you have written down for the day, you bring it together and then you say it at that gathering as well.
yeah. It might actually be that there's more to the child sleeping than meets the eye. Maybe the child is in a house where is being abused, so he or she keeps awake all through the night because of something else that is happening at home that is beyond your control. And we, as teachers, we know they always bring all these things back to school.
To school, yeah.
So you picking it up that the child is absent-minded might be that you are saving someone's life. So yes, you should always bring it up and report it to the DSL. The next question. I thought we were on time. In Nigeria, we have one teacher to 120 students. What sitting plan can I adopt? We don't even have space. Well, you are on this channel today because you are looking to travel abroad. I do not know how you can do 120 students, but if you start practicing it from where you are, by the time you get 10 students, 20 students, it will be so much better. Have a look at your students, see which ones go together. Try and see if you can move them wherever they are sitting now. Yeah. is your sitting plan. So if you just move them according to their ability, according to their peculiarities, just try and see if you can draw up a lesson plan with what you have now. And it might not be a success, but when you then get a class where it's practice, you can practice all this, then it will be a breeze. And when you go to interviews and they ask you what problems you've encountered as a teacher in Nigeria with 120 students, and you actually tell them, well, I tried, but this, and you list your problems, they will hire you because they will know this person has the experience, he has the know-how, it just doesn't have the environment to do a proper job. I hope that answers the question. Rima says, oh, sorry, Halimat says, in a way,
Oh,
private.
sorry, Jay. Before you move on,
Yeah,
regarding that, I think this 16 plan is something that is happening right from when we are younger. It's not just in a formal settings. Like, we are not doing it the right way. That's what I feel. I
yes,
remember when I was in primary or secondary school, we do it as well in Nigeria, but it is not just more formalized like it is done in the
yes.
UK.
It's
So
not
it's not
data
actually.
rich.
So some of my classmates who find it difficult to see the board easily would not be allowed to sit at the back when they complain, like, why are you not writing? Miss, I can't see the board. I've seen someone like that in Nigeria before when I was teaching as well. So what we did was, like, we have to move them to the front. So the thing is, all this sitting plan is not as complex as it seems. Like, the way we are explaining it, some people who are just hearing it for the first time, we think it's a big deal. Yeah, it has been happening. We do it. It is not just in a concrete way. It is not
Yeah,
as formalized as this. So we
yeah.
have been doing it in Nigeria, but it's just in an advanced way. I'm going to put it that way.
Yeah, I mean that teacher that had to notice the child was not writing, and then the child had to say, "I couldn't see the board." This is what they are trying to safeguard against here, so that you already have the data. This child doesn't see before the child comes into your classroom. This is the problem. So know how to support them from the beginning.
Yeah.
I wish if they did that in Nigeria or wherever anybody is watching this from, then we can safeguard a lot of things. A lot of children would actually thrive a lot better and not have to suffer first before being discovered. Some children don't talk. Some children don't talk. My younger brother was in a classroom where for 5 years he was in that school. He needed glasses. The teacher never said anything. The teacher never noticed. They just used to write lazy, 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 lazy in his reports. Just lazy. It was when he changed school. He changed school, and then the teacher in the new school then said, "This boy needs glasses. I don't think he sees very well. He's always squinting to look at the board." Then with my parents took him to the uh, optometrist, and they got him glasses. At home, he doesn't need to be far away, so he can see. He can find a way to see. But in school, he has to. They put him at the back because he's very tall, and it didn't help him at all. So if you try to practice, you might actually pinpoint children who have problems right now in that classroom who you can help. And the idea of it will help you when you go to interviews. In a way, private primary schools in Nigeria does this, but of course, they would usually not take the SEN, green, red, and yellow children into consideration. Exactly. In the diaspora, you take the groups into consideration, you take the individual children into consideration, and like mommy pointed out, you take the space you have in the classroom into consideration, so that everything works together, so that the classroom becomes a well-oiled machine, and you are the conductor in front conducting the whole thing. um oh my god said, indeed, private schools in Nigeria do these sitting plans, but I don't know they have names. Yes, they do have names, and thank God for this live today, because now we know. Omomi, please, in diaspora, especially in government secondary schools, what is the population like? Mhm.
Well, in here in the diaspora, in some secondary schools, you can have as many as 2,500 students in a school, in the whole school. But it is well managed. That is the difference. It is well managed, in which we have big schools that are, I would say, similar to some universities in some part of the world. So
Yeah.
that is how it is managed, and we have several classes. There are secondary schools, or I would say this is how the secondary. Even though we have 2,500, it is splitted into different harms in which they have different ties, different tie. I mean tie, not in tie. That is, they have different, and then they will not, okay, they fall into this particular group in the school, though the same year seven, but it's just like in Nigeria or in some part of the world whereby you have, yes, JSS 1A, JSS 1B, JSS
Yeah.
1C. So yes, we also have that here, year seven, and then they have different groups they fall into. So there is much population, but it is well managed.
Yeah. Yeah. And for international schools, they have a policy in many schools that I've worked at, where once they hit the maximum number, and most of the time international schools, the maximum number will be 18, 19 children in a classroom. Once they have more than 18, 19 children in a classroom, they get a new teacher and they get a new classroom, and then they take some from each class and make up, maybe, so now in the end you have 15, 15, and maybe 10 or something funny like that, until that 10 gets to 18 or 19. Then they will reshuffle the children again, that sort of thing. Public schools, 35, yeah, that's why I'm not in public school. I mean, international school, because the money will chase some people away. They won't be able to afford it.
Yeah,
Okay.
for that again, the
Yes.
population is well managed, as Omomi has said,
Yes.
because they will not allow you to have. I've been into a lot of I've worked in a lot of secondary schools, and I've never seen a class that has about 50 students at once. No,
No.
in the UK, I've not come across a school like that. Unlike Nigeria or any other African countries where they do not mind to put students together. So even if you have a large population for a particular class, what they do is to split them into different groups so that
Yeah.
learning will be easy and grouping them will be more easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Uh, what about SEN schools? Can you talk about SEN schools? Do you have any?
Talking about SCN school, I think we do not. I have not seen an SCN school with a large population. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's actually for special people. So because they
Yeah.
are special, we have their numbers. Even if it is a secondary school, if it's a government secondary school or private or anything, you can't compare their number with mainstream. We
No.
call the other side. Aside from the mainstream is always very very large,
Yes.
always very very large compared to special school, which is SAN.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Please, can you do a topic on behavioral management? Mommy has behavioral management. I have behavioral management. Head on over to our channels and you will get enough. Although, apart from that, we're still going to do something on behavior management. But we've touched on behavior
Yeah,
management
we've touched. Yeah.
today, because you cannot do sitting plan without behavioral management strategies. Moving a chatty chat, moving a social butterfly, sorry, moving a very social child from where he or she can talk a lot, and moving the child to another seat. Not as if, hey, give up, go sit down there, you're talking too much. No, 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 we don't do it like that. No, no, no. Okay, I want you to sit here in this class because I can see that you are going to help this other child socialize a lot more. Hey, you've put it in a nice way, but actually what you've done is you've moved a very social child to a child who probably doesn't talk at all. So you want them to be able to help each other out so that they can do peer learning together, and hopefully the social one will make the one that is not social. So it's still behavior management, and we've talked about it, but go over to our channels and you'll find a treasure trove there. Omo says we do all these types of sitting plan that has been discussed here in Nigeria. Yes, but there are different schools in Nigeria. And Omo, I know you work in a private school. For you to say that, I can tell that you work in a private school or an international school. So you would have access to that. Whereas the majority of teachers in Nigeria would not have access to that. It's like me now telling you that, oh, I do so and so in my school. So why does Suliat and Omomi not do it? Because they're in a different school. So that's it. Okay, Blessing says, yes, it does answer my question. Practice makes perfect. Fantastic. Guys, we thought we were on time, but the questions came and we answered. Next week, we'll be looking at lesson plans. And the week after that, we'll be looking, we want to see if we can cover as much of all the topics that you will encounter, especially for new teachers. This topic today was suggested by a teacher who just got a job and needs this urgently to set up the classroom. So we decided to pick this up. If you have any suggestions you want us to cover, just like we have heard now about behavioral management, please drop it in the comment section below and we will work on it and make sure we deliver, because that's what we're here for. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. And if you need any of the slides that we shared today, just head on to our community pages and you will find it there. We'll try and leave things there, even if it just as links. Thank you once again for being with us tonight, and we love you all. Let me put it so that you can see it. Have a wonderful week ahead, and good luck to all those just starting their jobs tomorrow. First day tomorrow. Hey, good luck with all of our blessings. Bye. Downgrade on this, so I don't see myself having